also had an alternative of addressing these problems, we could be telling these people, we are here, I'm someone who has a property. Can the government give me maybe cheaper loans to develop a property here so that I can rent it out to my fellow citizens? If we look at it that way, we could help ourselves. Maybe financial institutions can come in and say, you've seen people, maybe in this area, people need housing programs and this and this and this. How can we come in to help these people? Perhaps even right now, we could have even hospitals coming in and saying, this and this is how we feel this system can work. Because I believe it's the people who are in that system, that medical system, when wanajua vile the hospitals zina steal money. Because if you can identify that money is being stolen by hospitals, then you can also identify how to close those gaps as people who are working from within. And that's why I'm saying we should also identify these problems from our own side as well, not just the leaders identifying these problems for us. So as much as we are here trying to just point fingers towards the leadership of our country, we also have to know what you can do from our end. Because then again, we won't depend on these people forever. There's something we can just do from our own side. Yeah. They rub it on our face each and every day. Maybe it's because they've known it. They have their data right. They know that this amount of people can't do this and this and this. And how are we going to change that? Can we have that conversation, PP? I yield my mic.
Thank you so much, George. Also, pertinent questions you're asking. I see Ronyo in the building. How are you doing, bro?
Hey, PP.
Jambo.
Poa sana. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate for the conversation. And you within 7 months, 1.3 trillion imekuwa withdrawn ambaye they cannot account for. So you ukifikiria 1.3 trillion with your small mind, with my small mind, you even listen and with your small analysis ufikirie tu fanye, you think of what 1.3 trillion can do for us as a country or as citizens. It's mind blowing kwa sababu when they talk of SHIF and SHA and haifanyi, and they're saying NHIF was the problem and all that. I mean, changing of the name, I solve any problem kwa sababu hakuna mtu alituonesha hii ndio system tumenunua. Hapa ndio tuko hapa. No, they just say no, we have another system. So we have another system. If your shop has a problem, maybe your employees are stealing from you, change Gina, it doesn't change the problem. The problem will still be there. So hiyo ni story tu ya majamba zile ya kusema sisi tunaitwa M23 now to change to M24, but we are doing the same shit, So they wanatuchukulianga wajinga. You look at that money, if you were say probably your SHIF and SHA, let's this 1.3 trillion, we focus on health, or we focus to ensure that there's medical cover for everybody. And there was a guy mwenye alikuwa anafanya hiyo analysis, and he was saying, if you were to say to take 1.3 trillion and we build level 5 hospital, he was saying we will have built 600 level 5 hospital around the country. Yani meaning every constituency ingekuwa na level 5 hospital. And he was saying, if we were to say, let's build roads, we will have almost 43,000 kilometers of road around the country. If we were to dig boreholes, ingekuwa imejaa every place in the whole country. So if we were to go and say, let's build houses, we would have built 600,000 houses with that 1.3 trillion. But that 1.3 trillion, it just disappears within the thin air, and nobody knows where it goes. and people are comfortable, and life goes on. And we are being told 1.3 trillion is gone. Munyoro says there is a container in State House, another one in Karen, full of dollars and full of cash. And that's evidence. We might disagree with him, but it's an evidence because somebody comes and say, "I'm giving 20 million to the church. I'm pledging 100 million and to one place, and then I'm giving 20 acres." 20 acres to a land that is owned by the KDF. Mind blowing. When you're living in such a country, you are like, okay, where does this money come from? Who does what at what time? Because even if I hold a position today as the president, as the commander in chief, I have a limit to what I can do because the Kenyans have given me mandate, but it doesn't mean I'm more of Kenyan or I'm more of a citizen than them. And there's a limitation. That's why we have constitution that says up to this point, that's where you can go. That the supreme power belongs to the people. So there are things that you can't do it by yourself. You can't just take a public land because the public land belongs to all of us. You can't just stand there and say, "I've given away this." That land that belongs to everyone, even Kenya mwenye hajazaliwa, and we make the decision where that land goes. That's why it's called public land. Otherwise, ingeitwa Kaongo's land or ingeitwa whoever else land, then you can make your own decision. If Kupita saizi akidecide kuzima hii nini saizi atutoe sisi wote, he can do that because that is his own account. But ikikuwa a public account, he cannot do that because it belongs to all of us. So hiyo limits na kujua where your limits reaches ama up to what you can do, hiyo ndio akunaga difference Kenya, that anybody can decide today I will shoot this person and then he still walks free. Now he has shot somebody. That hakuna limitation ya up to what point somebody does what, na mamlaka yako imekuruhusu ufanye what and what you are not allowed to do. So that is the problem, and we have as a country a conversation we have to have kwa sababu we elect people who thinks they're supreme gods. They become superpower to a point. They decide who lives, who doesn't live, what goes where, what happens tomorrow. That is the life any Kenyans are subjected to live. And we cannot live that kind of life where kids are studying under a tree, where we have thousands of squatters, and a church that people are not sleeping outside, a church that people contribute millions, and then they are given our own money because that money is not accounted for. You didn't tell us or bring a check and say this money came from my account. I sold maize the other last year. I got this amount, and this is my tithe. You can't just tell I'm giving this. Everybody, hata saizi ukitoa 10%, we know umepata mshahara, uliuza viazi somewhere. You have to account what you're doing because as a public, you did not choose to. You chose to be a public servant. So whatever you do is public. Otherwise, if you want to do things privately, or you need to be a citizen like any other person. But if you become a public servant, you have responsibilities. Now you have to account to everything that you do. So those kind of things that are happening is unfair to people. It is really unfair, and that's why as Kenyans we have to stand together, irrespective of what you believe or what you don't believe, irrespective of what you think. We have to stand together and fight impunity, fight corruption together. Otherwise, we will all perish. We will all fail. Kwa sababu whenever you're seeing a place like amali huyu William Kamgeta ametoka, watoto wanasomea chini ya mti bana, yeah? Ati staff room ni chini ya mti pia, walimu wako chini ya mti, ati ni staff room mahali wanakutana. And it is a constituency where they are given money every year. Every year, I think probably, I don't know whether I'm right, but every constituency gets 100 million. 100 million. You can build a staff room for the whole constituency this year. The next year, build several blocks. but these guys are driving unaona kama speaker wa Mombasa, sijui ni wa speaker wa Mombasa amenunua Lamborghini, my friend. You cannot account what unanunua Lamborghini. You see another lady mwenye ana flout every day ana flout new cars worth hundreds of millions. Where do they get? Ni biashara gani wanafanya hata sisi tuambiwe tufanye? You know, it is kind of useless things that are happening, but people are just silent. And then watu wanakuja wananunuliwa unga, ati mama miradi anawanunulia miradi yenu ni kupewa unga tu, mnakula siku moja unaenda choo. But instead of asking what, and those are the people wenye tutakuja tuchague the following day, ati ana represent women representative. Ana represent where? It is not, they are not representing anybody. They're just representing their stomachs and their generation. They're creating a generation of thieves. Kwa sababu that's what where you are eating you are eating and celebrating on the bloods of other people. It is so bad. It is so painful. It is so absurd to have such people representing us, where else at the expense of millions of people. How many people are dying in the hospital where they cannot pay hospital bills because the SHA and SHIF is not working? How many kids right now are dropping out of university because of this university funding model and work? You know, because the other tukifanya development and changes, they should come with bits. Leo, we are doing this. Oh, okay. What is the problem with the NHIF? These are the problems. How can we tackle this problem? How can we how can we close this loophole before we move to the next thing? Today, you cannot say, okay, we have problem with people living as quotas. Okay, those people are priority than giving houses to other people when they can afford to rent a house probably at 2,000, 3,000. But there are people who are living as quotas somewhere. I want anything, even build them houses, they are mabati, at least they will live outside. Wataacha kunyeshewa, wataacha kuwa at risk ya kuumwa na nyoka or something. Those are the priorities as a country that we should focus on. You look at ile pesa unatumia kujenga hiyo affordable housing, kupatia watu wenye, because if somebody can afford to pay 3,000 to that house, that person can afford to rent a house probably at 2,000. How about somebody who cannot even afford food? If you give them shelter for their kids and the people around them, it will change their life. How about you build them a small place where their kids can study? Those are priorities. You know, priorities zetu zimeina maana tu. And then priorities za Kenya, it is only where the camera can see. As long as the camera can see, and then danganya everybody, the whole country and outside the country, that the others they can die for all they care. You know, those are hiyo ni vitu ambazo people should focus and build on. But hii ujinga ingine, manze, it's painful. Thank you so much, Peter.
Thank you, Ronyo, for that. Japonji.
Hey, Pipi, I thought I was in the wrong space. Kwani sauti ilitembea na nani na Malia?
Usikuwe hivyo, achana na Malia.
Anyway, mimi niko buheri wa afya. Maisha iko poa. And I'm glad that we are talking about the scams. SHA is a scam and all that. Pipi, haya mambo sio mageni huku. Hata sijui nianzia wapi. You know, I was just scrolling through my timeline up at X, and I've seen things that we have known. Pipi, these things we had known from last year, to be honest. And I don't know why right now it has spiked a lot of, you know, for all this, I don't know, animosity or all this fight. But it's been there. It's been common knowledge. And most people, if you've been following a lot of people on X, these things they've been posting, like e-citizen being owned by private individual. Actually, we even know the name of the owner. And e-citizen, you know, it's owned by private individual, and he has full access. And it's not the government of Kenya. And actually, they pay themselves first a certain percentage. We know that. We know that SHA is owned also by an individual, and they pay themselves 2.5% per transaction. And that means that the money is not enough to do what it's supposed to do, because whatever someone contributes, 2.5%, your transaction in inaenda kwa mfuko. Government has no control whatsoever. And that's why you see the system is a complete mess. People, we also know that the government bill ile iko na sijui ni 2-seater is owned by ile bill 2222 or 262s. Pia hiyo inakuwa owned na individual who has full control, and actually they pay themselves first, and then the government has no control whatsoever. So the thing is, if you combine all these three transactions and the facilitation fees are removed, the funds are forwarded. Now this is the problem. All the funds are forwarded to a private bank that are owned by some senior politician whose intention inakuanga to make a bank tire, one bank by third quarter of 2025. So the level of theft is unprecedented. And you know, this courage to steal all this amount of money is why we are here, I mean, I guess. So again, for how long are we going to suffer as they destroy our country? So that's why I started by saying, people, mambo haya sio mageni kwetu. These things we know, we have facts. Even the government auditor is just portraying, she's just highlighting what we already know. So the thing is, what are we going to do about it? Utadu, that's what they keep telling us. People, you know these things. Wanakuulizanga utadu, what can you do about it? We know, we can talk about a lot of things here, PP. Mineral, kesho, leo, SHA, kesho, sijui, SACCO, and all that and all that. So the most fundamental question is, what can we do about it, or what are we going to do about it? Good. So the reason why the government is just comfortable doing all this is, you ask, and these are facts now. You know, you ask anyone who think they are in government, you ask them, would you prefer a government that is working for every Kenyan, or you prefer the government that comes from your clan? You know the answer to that. You go down there, grassroots, they tell you, as long as we are in government. And that's what everybody is fighting for, to be in government. Look at the mountain, look at Kalonzo, look at Juinani. They're just fighting to be in government. Actually, we don't even have to be in government. We just need to hold the government accountable. You know, if you can just hold all of these noises, if we just combine and hold this government in Ekosai accountable to everything, and it works, then we don't even need to be president, as someone has said before here. Kuna mtu amesema, we don't even need to be president if the system works. You know, if everything works the way it's supposed to work. So, again, you ask anyone, simple question. Would you be in a government that does not work because it belongs to your people, or a government that does not belong to your people, but it works for everyone? Utasikia majibu, and that's why we have a big problem na history ya church inakuja. So again, I repeat, what is new here? Corruption? Corruption is not new in Kenya. It's been there. It's happening every day. And we are even told 3 billion is getting lost every day. What is the difference between that and this 1.2 trillion that has been withdrawn? There's no difference. That's why sometimes I like this guy, this Western. He understands in fact. There's nothing that is different. Everything is just the same. It's just maybe the circumstances, but it's the same thing. See, the government auditor has been making noise for 2 years of lost budgetary funds. Did anything happen? Was anyone taken to court? Kuna mtu saizi umesikia kwa jela, any prominent politician umesikia kwa jela na sijui pesa ngapi. The other day we asked KOT Sonko a very simple question, tulimuuliza kwa space, KOT, wewe, how do you want to deal with corrupt people? Akasema, ati kama mtu ameiba 500 million, ati arudishe hiyo 500 million, yani apigwe fine ya 500 million, unagete, alafu hiyo story ishe, kitu kama hiyo. Sasa tukamuuliza, sasa mtu asiende jela, unaget? So you see that mindset. I'm just saying, giving an example, and I'm sorry to say that, but see, we have that mindset that mtu akiiba pesa mob billions afai kwenda jela, ati ndio hiyo pesa atumie irudi Kenya, ati sijui akipelekwa jela hiyo pesa ita-regulate kwa economy. You see, this kind of mentality, this kind of old school thinking, our grandfathers, is what is putting us in this situation. And actually people believe that to be true. But if you steal like 100 million, huwezi enda jela. Hiyo pesa ni mingi sana. Serikali nataka utumie ndio irudi kwa circulation. You see how we reason? That's why there is no millionaire kwa jela huko, hata kwa murder case. Hawaendangi, hawafiki. So, again, the problem is us. It's not just the ruling class. Okay. You saw, very clear example. Ruto alisema anatoa 20 million kwa church. And they cheered. So, does that make Ruto smart or the people who cheered? Unaget? Ruto has a target population. He was targeting that church and that target population. And unfortunately, I don't know how he's going to do that church thing of 20 million in places like Nyanza. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out his game plan because this thing is very difficult to work for. Like churches like SDA, in most SDA churches, I don't think they will accept even 1 million. I don't know. I don't know his game plan there, but something is cooking something, I think. That's why he will never put all those large sums in places like Nyanza or I don't know what he's planning. This is my personal opinion, but I don't think, even in Mombasa, I don't think he will give that amount. That's why I was saying, Ruto akona target population yake. Now that was his target population. And that's what those people wanted, church. Yeah. And again, church has been the weakest link, PP. Church is the weakest link, I'm sorry to say. Since when? We lost the church. Look at what, actually, church is part of the problem we have today. The church was very busy campaigning for this guy, calling other people's unchristian or calling other people's name, everyone had to go to church kuombewa ndio akuwe president. And they were like, they owned everything, the church. And people used to follow the direction of the church kitambo. Wakati wa Bishop Ndiki Mwananzeki, all those people kitambo, I don't know if you remember them. We used to have very, very respected church leaders. But look at these ones now. So, and I tell you, if you look at the statistics now, how many people go to church nowadays? The church has lost the sheep, because of these things. Look at what they're doing now. And actually, they're also, as I say, they're part of the blame for this government, Me personally, I stopped going to church during 2014. I remember going to church here in, that time we used to go to church like on a Friday, not Sunday, because working day, Monday was like a Sunday that's long, 12 years ago when I was in Dubai. So we used to go to this church, and this church was like combining like all Christians coming together to some church. And the reason I stopped, it's personal, and actually a lot of people also stopped. So when I went to this church, I was just starting the work, and I had like a very small pay slip. And then the pastor was like, you have to give 10% of your salary, to the church as tithe. Then I was like, okay, so I have to give the church 10%, and that 10% is what I can give home. This idea of home, unataka nipatie church, okay, but why? The same day in the evening, I saw the pastor and his daughter and his son. This is fact. They were on these Range Rover Sports and all these sports cars, and I was like, wow. And I was just fueling. And then they were counting Sadaka. It was like, then I was like, wow, if they are making all this money, because, it's not in shillings, it's in dirhams, and the population. Then I was like, wow, these guys are rich. The church is so rich. And then someone told me, one time I lost my job and I went to church and I tried to ask for help. Wakaniambia niende kwa embassy. So I'm just trying to figure out, man, the church lost is the sheep. These are facts, The last place hata unaonanga watu wenye wanakosa kazi, wenye wanafukuzwa nini. The church is the last place people go to for help. Unaendanga embassy huko, the same, unatupwa nje. We Kenyans come together, tunachangianga watu, mtu anarudishwa home. Sijaisikia hata hii church sijui imechangia mtu alikufa maiti nini, everything. Kenya. They never do. And their churches, people pay tithes 10% per month for what? So me nikasema hapana, mimi hiyo 10% I'll be helping. Maybe I buy some clothes, nini nipelekange huko home. Watu wenye I help the needy. And that's for me, it counts. So the church is the problem. And people, before I land, you remember this story about the forest, the monkey, and the lion. I think someone had put it so well. And you see, the animals in the forest wanted to vote for a leader. So there were two contestants. There was a lion and the monkey. And then the lions were few. but they were courageous, they had leadership qualities and everything. And that is how our democracy works. And then the monkeys, there were so many, but they had no leadership qualities. They were everywhere. They were uncivilized and everything. And guess who won? Of course, the monkey won. But the monkey could not even roar, could not even stand in front of the lion even after winning, So the monkey had to make a pact or a deal with the lion, eh? So it doesn't mean that the monkey stole the votes. No, the monkeys are many, and there are many in Kenya. And you know what I mean. So they won the vote, but they cannot even control the forest. They don't have leadership. They don't have anything, And the lion that lost is just seated there, and the lion is in Osre. So however you take this story, is up to you. But it's happening in Kenya now, So finally, this 120 million yenye tuongelea hapa yenye Ruto alitoa na ingine akapromise. Did you know that this is the amount that each constituency needs for bursary and development for a whole year? 120 million. That is what each constituency needs. Na hiyo ni pesa alitoa for one church. Unaget one church. So again, is Ruto to blame? I don't know. You ask yourself. But sisi pia tuchukue personal responsibilities. And something again before I forget, PP, this thing of SHA, NHIF. Me, I want to say something about NHIF. NHIF was a scam. Let's be honest here. Most people don't know this. I think very few people know, especially doctors. You will find a hospital that even had no people. There will be fake documents and everything and patients and claim. Hospitals used to claim money from NHIF for patients they treat. They would even fake like they had 28 surgeries of cesarean in a hospital yenye inakuanga labda na watu wawili kwa siku wenye wako na homa. So the problem was, instead of Ruto going down and finding these cartels and these hospitals that were taking money illegally using these fake clients forms and for compensation and all that, instead of solving that problem, which was easier to solve, he just advocated for something new to get rid of the whole system. Sometimes you don't have to make Kenyans suffer for your personal, ego and everything. Although he had a good motive, but again, let's be honest here. The system does not depend on the system. It depends on the people. And the people they don't have goodwill to make sure SHA works. This one I can tell you. No one cares. They don't have that goodwill, And people want to go back to NHIF. And some people, you have to be very smart. There are some people want to go back there because the hospitals will make fake claims and they will be paid. And a lot of those claims, on a government agenda, let's be a little bit honest, a lot of those claims are not real. So there was some reason to come out. But if Ruto had the power, like he said, Akeka Bibilia Chini, that's why I'm blaming him. Angeenda after those cartels and those hospitals who claim all this money from these surgeries that were never done, patients that were never admitted, auditing that were forged and everything, and they claimed millions and millions of money. That's why you see a lot of hospitals made a lot of money. Hospitals zenye hata unapata kuna mtu ni jina tu. Pipi, let me land there and listen more. Thanks.
Sawa, asante sana Japuonji kwa hiyo submission. I see John Seremani and then we go to Malia. John.
Thank you, Bwana Peter. I hope I'm audible and I don't. Am I?
Yes, you are.
Fiti sana. Yeah. I don't intend to take too much time. I just wanted to land a point in actually two of them regarding this topic for today. The first one is, of course, I'm going to join the rest of Kenyans in complaining because, one thing to do is also complain, which is okay. And I want to complain on the side of people who run hospital businesses. I don't personally, but we have a family business, and part of it is some certain hospital. It serves a community, and the people are not, let me say, well off. So they're going to be relying on, they used to rely on NHIF a lot, and now SHA with all the confusion. But that means, by the way, because most hospitals are pulling out of this scheme because they're not getting the payment that is supposed to come through from SHA. It means somebody else is profiting. I don't know, maybe there's something to do with ghost hospitals, payments to other places, meaning in NHIF it was not good, of course, but there you could at least tell because the payment would delay for like 3 or 6 months. Hiyo unajua msee alikuwa ameweka amechukua hiyo do, like if the payout is $1 million for that month, mtu anachukua hiyo do anaweka kwa nini, kwa MMF ama somewhere, you know, for 6 months, alafu anachukua the profit, alafu ndo anarudisha analipa hosi someone in NHIF. It would delay, but it would come. But with regard to SHA, I'm not too sure because people are really struggling. Even the business is struggling. If you talk around networks, like right now, I work somewhere and we've drawn up the architectural plans, everything for almost like a level 5 kind of a hospital somewhere in the country. But getting an investor, especially a foreign investor, to come in and kickstart this project is a problem because hata ukionyesha the business plan and how the hospital is going to pay back, the guy is asking you about SHA. Na sijui utamwambia nini, you know? So even they themselves, they can see there's a scam going on here. And I challenge you to look for a hospital that is under construction right now. A private hospital, it's going to be very difficult. So there's all that going on. It's really not looking good. Now, in terms of where I'd like to focus, my second and final point is on solutions. Unajua, wa Kenya, we act as if we live in North Korea. We act as if this is not a republic. Na sijui kama watu wanatambua what the meaning of a republic is. Right now, I should expect all this anger that we have, because tumezoea sana presidential politics. All this anger that we have, we act as if parliament does not exist. We act as if we can't be having movements to recall MPs who do not do the way we want. I don't know. Peter, you know the meaning of a republic, a respublica, this public thing, it means the people get to run the government, but they run through representatives. So if we're in this group, in this space, let's say we set Pipita as a representative. If Pipita does not do what we want, there's the mechanism of recalling him. We are not powerless. So I find this very strange, why there's so much anger, lakini everybody is so intent on simply trying to survive and move on with their life. Right now, the response, the national response, yes, we can blame it on Ruto and because it's an idea that came from the executive and all that. But we have to remember, we have other arms of government, not just the courts. You have parliament. You can organize with your neighbors, with the people around you, the people in your constituency, to talk about SHA and to bring that parliamentarian to answer questions. Why did you let it through? You know, if you don't begin a motion in the next month or so to take this thing down, then we are recalling you. Kwanza sasa hivi the IBC is just about forming up. By the time we're done with the finance bill this year, they should be up and running. So as I learned, let me just say, we are not entirely powerless. I don't think we are thinking constitutionally. Kusema tu ukweli. Like right now, after this, we'll come and complain, which is naturally okay, and then we just leave things at that. Same thing is that I've had people speak about the president, anapatiana 20 million, nini, all those things. And, people are complaining, tweeting and saying, anatoa pio pesa. Again, it's in our laws in how the country should be financially managed. We have an appropriations bill, which unfortunately, tumeiacha ikuwe ni pocket money for the executive. He can do whatever he wants with it. And yet by law, they are supposed to be, everything should be budgeted for a year in advance. And it has to go through public participation. So as I learned, let me just say, because in March, in April, there'll be public participation for the appropriations bill. Last year, it was not called, and no one batted an eye. Kwa sababu tumezoea tu kuachia watu uongozi. So if this is really a republic, a respublica, then we have to be knees deep involved in everything regarding governance. And if things don't go our way, we need to find ways and means constitutionally to make someone pay. If it means recalling an MP, there ought to be movements. Kwanza, me, by the way, let me just finish by saying this. Anyone who voted yes for last year's finance bill, me hata kukusamea labda ni Mungu. But for me, there is no way. There is no, I don't think you even deserve to be there. So anyway, I don't think we're entirely powerless. We just need to understand our laws, our constitution, the avenues we have. It's not just the courts, but it's also targeting MPs for recall. Other than that, basi wacha tungoje 2027. But before then, we have things we can do. Thank you, Pepita.
Thank you for that, John. Malia. Malia, ni kama hayupo.
Thanks, Pepita. I wanted to talk about the issue of the church. Bishop Mwai or Pastor Mwai is not a regular pastor. He has state security. He has outriders. I think he even has chase cars. And when you're looking at that church, you're just looking at that church in, is it Roysambu? The guy has churches, like in Mount Kenya. I think in every constituency, Pastor Mwai has a church. Every constituency in Mount Kenya region. And others in Nyahururu. So, Nyahururu and, other areas where watu wa Mount Kenya wanakuanga, which are in Mount Kenya physically. So, unajua, this issue of church, you guys, you overthink it. It's just a matter of numbers. If you're a politician and you really want like a quick win, like quick votes, which you're certain and assured that you'll get those votes, go to a church. And that's why you see that all our presidents, apart from some, the previous, but like Uhuru and now Ruto, they liked that thing of going to churches, and they always choose big churches. There's a time when they went to Nakuru, what is it called? I think it has like 20,000 or so people. They have a prayer center. So, once the pastor just says of that church that I'm endorsing this guy, that is, I think 99%, if not 100% of the people in that church, plus anybody else they can be able to influence, will then assure you of votes. And like now, because Mount Kenya is vote rich, it has good numbers, but because of Gachagua manenos, mambo imeharibika, so he has to look for votes elsewhere. Using another methodology. So hata alikiongea si ulisikia akisema sijui we want a polling station in this. That's all what he's thinking of. Don't overthink it that I don't know he wants to vote or not, or he's doing it out of the goodness of his heart. There's nothing like that. He's buying those votes, you know. And if in case you never knew, these times when you hear the guy pledging money, he has a system how he does. He can pledge like 5 million, then he'll just give the pastor 1 million, you know. Don't think he only lies out here. He also lies, like they work together. You know, I'm going to say in front of people that I'm giving you 5 million behind the scenes, na kupea yako ya macho 1 million, na hiyo story imeisha hapo. How will they know anyway? See, the church they want to build is 1.2 million. It's like, if he gives them the 100,000 or he gives, the 100 million or he gives them another 20, what difference will it make? Or how would they even know? But the bottom line is that this guy has churches in every single constituency in Mount Kenya and others also which are not in Mount Kenya, like in Mombasa, the main towns. But when you're targeting Mount Kenya votes, that's a good church to go to because it's in every constituency. And his word as the overseer or the wanaitangwa nini, GO, General Overseer, his word is the law in that church. So if he stands on the Lord has spoken to me, and of course, in fact, he doesn't even need to say it. Now that he contributed money, that's a given. He'll not even talk about it again. But of course, these church members, they know what the government has like security, like outriders, like chase cars. The guy is like a CS or something. He has all those state, the fringes, the benefits. He has all of that, and the reason is because that is a guy who will bring votes, serious votes, serious. Yeah. So look at it in that way, that he's buying votes. That's all it is. Thank you.
Unamaanisha ti huyo mtu ako na chess cars? Mi hata mnanishtua. I learn new things every day. Chess cars na outrider. My Jesus.
In fact, he has more than even like a CS. He has chess cars, he has outriders. Yani ako na benefits, serious benefits, which are offered to him free of charge by the government since this regime entered into the office from day one.
Wow. So wow. Boss, talk to me.
Is vipi napatikana? Nanipata vizuri?
Yeah, nakupata loud and clear.
Asante sana. So kwa hii maneno ya SHA, I would want to start by, I've just read a report in one of the on the outlets that government used like 104 billion Kenya shillings on developing this platform, and they don't even own it, by the way. As you're speaking about SHA, the government doesn't even own the SHA platform that we're talking about. It is being run by some cartel that nobody knows about. Nobody really wants to talk about it because even the media that pointed that out, they didn't really narrow down on who exactly owns and runs SHA. So meaning that a deduction is done on the payslip and it is directed through a platform that's not even owned by the state. So I don't think we would expect much from such a platform. I think SHA was a politically conceived idea. It wasn't really meant to change things from what NHIF was to something better. I don't think so. And, ideally, our society as it is, there are few problems that our politicians take very good advantage of. Of course, Kenya has a very elitist middle class population that is very political. tribal and very charged morally. They are very sensitive morally, but they'll never point out these issues that come out as strongly as, like right now, if we point out whoever is stealing money from SHA or whoever stole money from NHIF or the hospitals that were used to steal money from NHIF, has been mentioned before, when we settle down on those hospitals and let's say those people are sent to prison, then another organization will come out and defend them, and all of a sudden it will narrow down to tribes, and all of a sudden it will narrow down to political witch hunt, and all of a sudden it narrows down to mtuetu. So it becomes very difficult. In the same society we're talking about where, in a payslip, 200,000, somebody who earns 200,000 approximately takes home around 130K, meaning 70K is gone. This 70K goes to, part of it goes to pay as you earn, part of it goes to NSSF, NHIF or other SHIF, and then you also have this housing thing. And that, we are talking about an ideal scenario where somebody is not paying any loan, an ideal scenario, of course, where you are not being charged any other thing by the bank, the SACCO or other. So if you're earning 200K, you take home 130. But definitely that's not an ideal circumstance. Of course, somebody will earn like 200K, utapata anaenda nyumbani na even below 100K. And that's something actually that was picked up by the Auditor General in their report. So we should actually be having any kid, any person or any mother who seeks Medicare as an outpatient, I think it should be free. That should be what should be happening. It should be free. But if you bring that up, the government that has politicians who've invested in Medicare would be like, no, we can't have free Medicare because we have hospitals that are owned by politicians, by the way, and we know those hospitals, and we still go to those hospitals, because and that's how they make their profits. That's how they launder the money that they use to campaign, and we vote them back, and then we start the cycle of complaints of, hey, this politician is not doing this, And as I finish up, there's so much going on at the same time. Money is being lost through SHA, something that is being funded by Kenyans, and at the same time, the president stands in front of the pulpit and donates 20 million. 20,000 watoto wa HELB hawajapata, 20,000 youth unemployment iko hapo, and as we speak, the same president is building, or rather constructing, a runway in his home in Kilgoris, and Kenyans are so sensitive. They don't want to talk about it. If you bring it up, a few bloggers will be paid. They'll come on Twitter and they'll be like, oh no, kumi bila break. Achana na hiyo maneno. He's one of us, He's from this tribe. And that's what politicians capitalize on, And still, everybody focuses on politics. Because as we speak about this SHA, down the line, the president might decide, or rather whoever the appointing authority might decide, to appoint somebody from another tribe. And then it goes down to, oh, he's appointed a specific person with such a name, and everybody forgets about everything that's happening in SHA. And we now start thinking of this small demigod who's been appointed as the CEO of this corrupt organization. And what happens? We go around worshiping him. We invite him in Arambes in those churches. I still don't understand why a church needs a 1.2 billion whatever facility to worship. Why do you need? And I wonder why you would have a sane person going to just a church. Why do you need a 1.2 billion structure to worship? Why would you sit in the same congregation with people who definitely don't even have food in their homes and clap when the president gives out 20 million, and you sit there and clap and you say, Bishop wetu, and on Sunday you actually go back na bado utalipa tithe na ulipe hiyo inaitwangwaje offering, I think Kenyans are not mad enough. We are not mad enough at what's going on in our country, because what I've always believed is that governments should serve for generations, whatever we plan today, whatever is laid as a foundation today by this current government should be of benefit even in the next 100 years. But what we have is that we have a system that is used to launder money very fast, buy flashy cars, campaign, bribe people, build malls that are actually funnily empty across Nairobi. If you go around, almost all the malls are empty because watu hawana pesa ya kurent hizo malls zenye wamejenga na hizo pesa wameiba, you know? And I think it's just frustrating to see all this. So for me, I still believe that free Medicare is possible. With the kind of taxes and deductions that we have in Kenya, free Medicare is possible, even if it's outpatient. If you go to any public hospital, na we ni mgonjwa, unafaa utibiwe na uende nyumbani bure. Because SHA is just, to me, SHA looks like kitu tu ya mtu, ni biashara ya mtu we are funding. The same thing with the housing levy, you know. And as we fund it, it's being defended by a blogger who definitely, if they have a sick person in their family, they would come to this platform to ask for us to maybe raise for him some money, you know. And we all focus our energy on Raila, Gachagua, Ruto, Uhuru, and that is the dance every day. And things are not good. The entire world has woken up. Nobody wants to be that sensitive. That's why you have a platform like X, where you can say anything you want and nobody will question you, you know. But Kenya, bado hawajaamua. I'm very sure if you sit down, if somebody is in a position to sit down and put together the video of the president promising 120 million in Harambee, somebody dishing out money, I saw Ichungwa dishing out money in envelopes in millions somewhere, we should actually ask SWIFT to switch off Kenya from the platform, you know, so that we see how we can transact, so that people can go back to their senses. Because we are transacting corruption, a system that's entirely propped by corruption. Actually, if we eliminated corruption in Kenya, I think our economy would even collapse, because that's what props our economy. And we are very comfortable around it. And nobody thinks of anything outside that. Even the young guys and youths who are supported to go up there and try speak the right language, they've gone back. They've joined the politicians. And they're trying to act like them. They dress like them. They want to drive around like them. They want to speak like them, you know. So it's a corrupted system, and it's not going to work. Not today, not tomorrow, not even 30 years down the line, sadly. Asante.
Thank you, boss, for that submission. Now, the mic is now free. You can request and talk to us, ladies and gentlemen. This is Home Run with PP. We come to you each and every weekday from 4 all the way to 9. Na mnasema sauti yangu imekuwa croaky. Yeah, anyway. Naona tumebaki na watu wawili hapa kwenye listener. Okay. Sawa. Let me see what is going on the comment section. Watu wanaiba ile serious kukua honesty Kenya. For real. Watu wanaiba for real. Mwingine anasema nini? Wanasema Kenya rivals Sinaloa cartel. Sinaloa imewafanyia nini? You know, sasa huku nje ni kama tu nimeambia watu kwamba we are in a business. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to fundraise for the studio. Manze, hapa hivi ndo naleta kipindi inawafurahisha. So if you like what I'm doing, kuna tip line yangu pale 0721948229. Naona tuko karibu watu 60. Kila mtu akiniwekea 100, that's 6 Gs. I'll be closer to the target. At least tusifungiwe studio yetu. All right. Now that is said, we are currently at 3,250 bob. Well, si kama tungefika hata 5k itasaidia. Georgie.
Hi, PP. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm also fine. So I usually say through these spaces as we talk, we want to advocate for change. We are advocating for change. And usually I tell people change is not a sexy affair. It's not easy. It takes time. And as Kenyans, we have a lot of avenues for change. But specifically today, let me quote something from Article 1 of our Constitution. And there's a reason I'm going to quote it. Article 1, it says, all sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised only in accordance with the Constitution. It proceeds to say, the people may exercise their sovereign power either directly or indirectly through their democratically elected representatives. It also goes on to say the sovereign power under the Constitution is delegated to the following state organs, which shall perform their functions in accordance to the Constitution. A is the Parliament and the legislative assemblies in the county government, the national executive and the executive structures in county governments, then lastly, the judiciary and its independent tribunals. So this means the sovereign power of the people is exercised at national and county levels. So why have I said this? You know, Article 1 empowers Kenyans as the ultimate decision makers, meaning that change is just not top to down process. It's not a top to down process as you often think, you know. It starts with the people. So this means that if you want to bring change, we have to ask ourselves, first of all, we as a people, what are we supposed to do? If you want to bring change, what can we do? And how does the Constitution mandate us to do it? Because we also have to do it in a constitutional manner, and in an orderly manner. You know, and this we should also get to know the avenues we should use to bring change. And as Kenyans, the avenues given to us to exercise our powers directly, we have petitions and referendums, you know, we have public participation, we have protests and advocacy, most of which we use, and we use it very well, BP. But that's never enough. Why is that never enough in our country? And why is it always failing and failing terribly? We go to number 2. The power that is exercised indirectly, which we've delegated to our leaders. And I think here's where most of the problem lies, you know. The first one, ile ya kwenda maandamano, is a public participation. Most of it, we don't even go to those public forums. Petitions and referendums, they happen very once in a while. Unaona. So now let's go to number 2. It allows the people to delegate their powers through the elected leaders, such as MPs and county representatives, county assembly representatives. How do we do that? Through elections, you know. And now here is where the problem comes in. When you're going to vote, how do we vote? You know, and this change only happens like once in 5 years. That's when you have that opportunity. We mess up or we fuck up. Oh, sorry for using that unsaving language. If we mess up, we are messed up for the next 5 years. If we choose it, if we do it wisely, then we enjoy for the next 5 years. And this is where I usually like to focus on. When you go to vote our leaders, we should vote for leaders who align with our vision. You know, we should elect for leaders who know what we want. We should elect leaders properly. And let them not manipulate us as they do each and every time. And I'm glad at least nowadays tumeanza kufunguka macho pole pole. You know, today on TV I saw a certain lady saying that, they're happy Raila is back as the opposition leader to check the government. And this is an MP. What the function of an MP if it's not oversight? You wonder. And that's if that's the kind of leaders we have in our parliament, what are they going to do? They even get there and even limit our powers. Someone wanted to limit the powers wananchi have of going to protest on the streets. We delegate our power to people who are going to mismanage it. And it is our responsibility as Kenyans to always acknowledge that this is our power. We exercise it once in each and every 5 years. That means each and every person who is of the age of voting should and must vote if it's according to me. Every time you're having these conversations here, we believe that we are also reaching out to people, sharing information, so that collectively we can make responsible decisions when we get back to the ballot in this scenario 2027. Like, it will be a waste of time if we reach a point where we forget all these conversations we have and go back to our tribal cocoons. It will be a waste of time if we lament about Ruto for 5 years, then you end up voting for him again. You know, it will be a waste of time if we sit here each and every time, saying, there's an MP who did this and this and this and this, then we go back and elect the same person. It will be a waste of time, you know. And now it's time to talk about that change that we want. If you can't exercise it directly, then you have the power to exercise it indirectly. And lastly, also engaging the state organs, which mostly is far beyond our reach, but the Article 1, subsection 3 delegates this sovereign power to state organs like the parliament, executive, and judiciary. Okay, these organs, yes, we've seen the judiciary helping us a couple of times, whereby it stops some bills and everything. But I feel like sometimes the weakest organ is our legislative. The MPs, and here we have a lot of problems here. We most of the time talk about the president and everything, but the president and the executive has like power checks, and its power checks are the judiciary and the legislative organ. So this means that the people we still elect here are very critical when it comes to even checking the president. If you voted right down here, like we will not be having the problem with our president. The other day they sat down and kicked away the deputy president. That means they can even sit down and kick away. But we voted in people who are just corrupt. Wakienda State House wanakunywa chai, wamenyamaza. Unaona? So yes, we know these problems that we have, and even as we talk about them each and every day, we have to know how we are going to bring in the change. As I've said, it's not a sexy affair, it's hard, but it's going to be like one step at a time, one law at a time, you know, one lobbying at a time, one protest at a time. I believe each and every step we take towards the ultimate goal that we want, and that is like good governance. You know, it makes a difference. The other day we just aware done, it made a difference. You know, so it's good to also acknowledge like what are the avenues of change that we can use. You know, as citizens, not just talking about the problem. What are the avenues that we have? Every 5 years we have the most important one, and that's electing in proper people in there. From there, we let them do their proper work. We also do our proper work. You know, when the things that are coming up are being proposed, we have to participate fully and engage in these public forums. Consult, unaona. Where there's need to be, we have people who can go for protest, peaceful assembly, and expression, unaona. Those are things that are allowed in the Constitution. We can bring about petitions. We see a lot of petitions here that are brought about, unaona. Yeah. So, like, we are the one who have we are the ones with the power, and we have to decide how we are going to use our power to make that change. And lastly, PP, I think also it's the last thing that I can also pose as a question. We want good governance, but sometimes also ask myself if good governance really will bring about change. Is it enough to bring the change? Unaona? Like, is it enough? And talking of good governance, we should ask ourselves, we as the wananchi, as the people who are going to vote, because we're going to vote in for good governance, what is good governance according to us as the wananchi? Most of the people, what do they view as good governance? Most of the Kenyans ukianza kuuliza who is a good leader, wataanza kuanza na God fearing. Unaona? And I don't know whether our leaders know these things and they start manipulating us through this through these channels. wakijua wao tunataka God fearing leaders wamejaa kanisani kila Sunday. So should we change the definition of our good governance in this country? Yeah. Oh, we want people who are accountable and stuff. But then how are they going to craft this accountability? The other day walikuwa nasema they need 60 billion for election. They've broken down each and everything, you know. They made it look so nice so that they can be accountable. But really, in the back of our minds, we know that those are just skyrocketing, like those are just inflated prices, budgeted corruption, just hapo hivyo, unaona. And what are we doing about it? Should we opt for a dictator in this country who can just shoot down corrupt people? That's not like a good president according to our views, but then it could help us. So my question will be like, according to the Mwananchi, the definition for good governance, is it something that can bring about change? Like, what do we understand by good governance? Yeah, if you were to just ask someone randomly, because we seem to have like misplaced, we have different definitions for good leadership in different places. Like last week kumekuwa na kitu imekuwa trending amongst like young people in school when they're voting. Unasikia wazazi wanasema ati today mtoto wangu alikuja akaniambia ati wana vote shuleni, and there's a day who came and promised them that akiwa elect kama head boy ata make sure the whole school inakula kuku and everything, you know. So from when you are young, we believe that the person who is a good leader is the person who comes in with the best promises, some of the biggest of promises, some of which are not even achievable. So is it that maybe I'm not even articulating it well, but that's the culture from when you are young. We just pick charismatic people because we believe that they are the ones who can lead us, and that's what we believe is a trait of a good governor, a good leader. Hey, yeah, because now we are the change makers. What's our ideal in terms of leadership? Yeah, maybe that's something we can ponder on. Thank you, Pipe.
Asante sana George for that submission. Japonji.
Hey, Pipe. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I was just trying to finish my earlier submission. See, I wanted to talk about this housing thing. You know, Kenyans are very gullible. As much as we can talk here, tell everyone that it's a scam and all that. There are people here who will just go there and own them and buy. Yeah. So sometimes ni kama kupigia mbuzi gita. Unajua, these things. Look at the circle. Some of us told people, hizi circle unaona wame-advertise and all this, there is danger. We can see they are giving dividends that are like, they are not possible. Mtu anakupatia interest rates sijui za 18 huko, some MMF wanakupatia 18%, unaambia is not possible. So, when pesa yao inaenda, the same people wanakuja kulia, the same people wenye wanaambiwa hizi vitu za real estate, sijui some real estate are marked and they are like scammers. Mtu anasema hii ni yenyu, and they go and buy, and you realize that some circles are not even registered under the Circle Society of Kenya. They don't have the legal certification, and people go there. The same people will go and register for a course, a degree course, to get some masters, only to realize that even that institution is not. So what I'm trying to say is this. Kenyans, we are very gullible. And this housing thing, someone said, the next administration, they will just call it off. And guess who will lose the money? Hiyo kesi yako utapigania kesi na serikali for years, and the government does not lose. So, and the other thing I want to talk about is this thing we expect this week. I think tomorrow or after tomorrow, when Raila will be announcing that he has consulted Akina Pipita and everyone, so that he can take 50% of the government. So me, I would like to ask him also, when he takes the 50%, you take 50% blame. Na tuanze hapo. so we can put them all in one basket, and then make sure that they all go home clean. My last thing I wanted to say, people, or to ask, I want to ask all listeners this: what if by 2027, like January, February, March, things start to work? SHA is working. This guy makes roads and all this. Will you still vote for Ruto? That's my question for everyone who is listening. Thanks, PP. Let me listen.
We both know that is what they're planning, right? We know that they are going to to make things work. Alafu Kenya tunapenda uongo sana. Tunapenda. Actually, come to think of it, I can honestly say that we know what you're doing. We are self-saboteurs. Yeah? We know. Usifikirie eti watu hawajui eti pesa inaibwa. We elected these people after Luis Moreno Ocampo himself told you guys, haya, huyu jamaa hatari. Have you ever read the document? I don't know. But yes, it is not looking good at all. I was talking to a friend of mine who was looking to relocate back to the country. But ananiambia tena amefikiria akaona it's not workable. That is the life. That is the truth of our situation right now. That you are not assured of tomorrow. Sahi kuna watu wamekuwa graduates, they are not getting jobs. Kuna wapati hata salaries. You get. And for me, I say Adani did not go anywhere. Remember, I'm doing a fundraiser here. Nimekuja kwa mchango wangu na I'm trying to raise 25,000 to cover costs the studio. The studio is not safe anymore. So kindly ingia pale hivi kwenye tip Jaline 0721948229 is the number. Any amount will go a long way to watch this. Haya. Kwa comment wanasema nini? We yearn where we will see our president we yearn where we will see our president will work like Magufuli, whereby he should listen to the people on the ground, not those in offices, because those in offices only care about what works for the advantages, to the advantage, that is Mocheche texting that. So it's a crazy system if you think about it. Na kuna mtu ameongea vile wanasiasa wanapromisiana vitu. Pakistan has banned citizens from traveling to Kenya. Okay. And I'm in shock that pastor has a Cheska. Hiyo nayo mali amenipata 10-0. Yes. So I knew there was a scam when for the last few years Kenyans were being encouraged to join SACCOs. Hapo hivi anaongelea hiyo issue ya SACCO. Japo nje sijui kama uliona huyo mzae hiyo pesa alikuwa anaweka his clan as well. Hiyo ndo yani
yes, 11 of them people.
Hata akukudenja was not this foolish bwana.
But people, there's something I've discovered with Kenyans. People know how to steal. They steal a lot of money, but they don't even know how to use or how to keep. Me, I don't know if I should just start a profession whereby I consult with people who have stolen or rigged, then I can help them how to keep it. Because, man, 90 people, be one of his girlfriend house, be villas, 11 of them, man. So, tell me, I wonder.
George,
I just wanted to add on what Jeponji is saying. I think it's the same thing with our leaders, whereby like they borrow money, they steal it, and go and invest outside rather than investing in the country. It even makes it a double loss, you know. So we borrow money, it's brought in the country, we have projects that we are supposed to do, Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So, uh, we have projects that you're supposed to do, but then they go and invest it outside. They go and buy properties in Dubai. They do investments in other country. Yet you're here just remaining with no development, but a lot of loans to pay. So I think we also need financial education. Perhaps with that we can be better thieves who can bring change in this country. Imagine if they stole that money and just made development in our country, it could have been better.
And we choose these people, so you know that we choose them. And venye Japonja anasema, you know, if the money was moving around the country, it would have been better. Yeah, if the money was in dollar, was being spent within the country, half of it these guys travel with it and deposit in foreign accounts. African politicians are landlords in Dubai. Japonji niambie kama nadanganya.
People, yes, people, you know, kuna vitu hatuwezi ongelea, but me I can tell you, ni landlords. But there's something also I need to tell you. You see, Nigeria ndio hii walisign contract yenye ukipatikana umeiba pesa Nigeria, your property gets confiscated, inauzwa, inapelekwa back to the central government of Nigeria. I don't think Kenya we have done that, because me huku Dubai I've met with mtoto kijana wa Mugabe. That guy lives large, unajua, and own like very big villas huku, unajua, beach houses and all that. But Nigeria, kuna flat niliona complete ya Nigeria. And what they did, I think he was involved with some corruption cases. So the government ilikuja ikaclaim nini kamfuatilia. I wonder if Kenya we are doing that.
Kenya bana, ukiiba tunakupa kiti. Kama ama jamaa wa Cusco, wewe ngoja uone wakikuwa ma MP sasa. Wameshapata, washafanya all the ingredients wako nazo sasa. Wako na pesa, wako na, alafu tunahongwanga pesa kidogo. Hata sasa imagine eti governor nani inaitwa Kimani Ichung'wah anapatiana only 200 shillings. And people take it, and sometimes ikiwaambia tunaongelea tabia za Kenya last week, guys were very quiet, but mnajua tabia zetu. We are our own problems. We choose these problems. You get. Tunataka kitu yenye itakuwa inatufanya tunaongea. Aya. And also right now you can see we have Raila where we know. But you'll see people still sing. They support him. George.
So Pipi, sometimes I usually wonder, okay, tukisema ni tabia za Wakenya. Okay, kuna kitu nakuanga nime-emphasize a lot, na bado naweza emphasize tena. When the colonial master left our country, he left like 3 major problems in this country. That was poverty, illiteracy, and ignorance. And these things ail the common mwananchi. To the point, it's even shaping their characters. Unaona? Pipi, you know, sengine hata tukipoint fingers, like imagine wewe ni mtu mwenye hujakuwa na job almost a month. Then Babu Owino calls you to just go and heckle somewhere. Umelipwa 1,000 uende uattend rally ya Ruto. Like, honestly, utakata. There's that extreme. Unaona? And these people know it, and they work very hard not to change these situations because they want to capitalize on it. We still have a good number of Kenyans who are illiterate. Yes, nowadays we have a population that's quite literate. That's why unapata nowadays we can unravel things that are happening. We can take time to read the bills and everything and understand them. So it's becoming quite hard. But still, kwa hii population yenye iko literate, we still have the ignorant ones. Yes, you've gone to school, but you're as good as nothing. You're still ignorant. Unaona? Mtu mwenye uko tu zile za wacha tu waibe bana, watamaliza 5 years. Like, that's a very ignorant statement. Mwingine unasikia ati mimi naona bado Ruto ni popular, wacha tu aende tu 10 years. I mean, wacha tu, and at what expense? Tuache tu at what expense? You know, those are the ignorant lines you hear sometimes kwa gari, unashindwa tu manze. Are we there yet? And sometimes I'm just like, if we want to start bringing change, we have to address these major problems we see amongst the electorate, among the people who are going to vote, the sovereign, where the sovereign power lies, yenye nilikuwa nasema saa hii. Unaona? Like, how can we address the poverty issue first? You know? How are we going to address the education issue first? Like, in fact, even the current government is even impairing education more and more. They're making it even quite hard for people to acquire it because it's becoming more expensive. We are going back to the days where people used to sort for education in Makerere and other universities out of the country. We're going steps back. We are not even getting any better day by day. How many people sleep hungry in this country? On the streets ukitembea usiku Nairobi. You know, that's the sad reality on the ground. And our people know it. Ndio maana nilikuwa nakuuliza, Ruto nadhani akaenda kupeana 20 million. How many hungry people were clapping for them in that church? We don't count the people who are suffering in that church because the other day tulikuwa tunaona mtu kwa Pastor Nganga analia kabisa. That was a desperate woman crying just for shelter. But then there's this person who is ready to give out 120 million to build a 1.2 billion church, a place where you only spend 5 hours once a week, rather than building an institution where we'll spend most of kids spend each and every, literally 5 days or 6 days in school, from morning hadi jioni. Where do we place our priorities? Unaona? So it's just messed up sometimes, and that's why mimi nasemanga maybe it's still going to take us long to reach the goal. It's a sad reality. Hey, Japonji, maybe you can add something to that.
Japonji, are you there? All right.
Yes, Pipi. Pipi.
Yes, nakupata.
Yeah, just let me get back in 4 minutes. Just 5 minutes.
Aye, sawa. Well, Japonji is flying. Anasema uliza Waititu bond ni ngapi. But then there is a good news. Kwa ile wizi ya 588 million, Ferdinand Waititu has been arrested. Ako industrial area where tunaongea. So mi na believe kuna siku hao maboys watalala ndani. And I can't wait for the day that we take everything. It could not be in this lifetime, but I can't wait because I know at some point tutapata Wakenya wenye hawana hii ujinga ya kukubali kushindwa, kwa sababu right now we are just accepting, you know. All I've heard the whole time is defeatist, you know. Tumelemewa. And these politicians have already known that, so they just use our desperation. And I'm gonna tell you for a fact that say ukienda supermarket na 2000, mafuta 5 liters sasa imefika 1500. 5 liters ya mafuta, which means we are buying a liter of oil at 300 bob. Haya, sukari imefika 300. Sabuni from 180 to 400. So when you say you don't pay taxes, I mean, you think that you don't pay taxes, you are paying taxes, and these taxes, yesterday somebody stood in front of people akasema napeana 100 million. Kumbuka presidential salary ni 1.2 million. Sawa? 1.2 million multiply by 12. That's 14.4 million. 14.4 million times 5 years is not even 100 million. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? If we were to buy Airbus A350s, the biggest Airbus in the market, with the 1.3 trillion those guys stole, I saw somewhere that we could buy 16 Airbuses, cash money. That's about $100 million these guys took out of this country. $1 million. I want you to think. $1 million. Imetolewa tu kwa economy yenu. And you see, somebody said it well. The media itself did not question who owns these companies. Alafu unajua kuna kitu moja nimekuja kurealize. Vile George anasema eti tunapigana na legal na wao na sisi tunafaa kupigana legal. They're using the legalities to gag people, you know. They're using the legality to tell people shut up. We don't want to hear from you. They're using the legality. Sasa ukileta mchezo unashikwa. Kama sai, I'm pretty much sure the fact that Waititu is in prison is because not because he stole, but because he decided to side with Rigathi Gachagua. You can realize how messed up it is. Every week kumekuwa na scandal. Auditor General, guys, I don't understand. We have an Auditor General who gives us reports. Unasikia sijui county fulani Jamal alisema atafanya kazi akapewa 20 million. Pesa ilifika kwa ground less than $1 million. Watu wanasoma tu kama novel, wanaendelea na maisha. I'm very much sure. Yeah. Like mnalia tu shida hapa hivi ndo radio show yangu isikufe, but ikifika kwa when the rubber meets the metal, the road, you go back to mtu wetu. You see how Rigiji has become an instant darling. Amekuwa darling ya the people. Sasa ndio anaongea kuhusu wizi. Bro, mimi hawezi ni convince. Ulikuwa huko. Ulikuwa huko. Anyway, it's 3 minutes to 9 East African. I don't know if you have any words for us as we call it a night. George, final words zako?
Pipi, always mina semanga tusikufe ama give up on this journey of wanting change. It's a slow process, so each and every effort you put in, whether ni kidogo, whether ni kubwa, like in your own capacity as a citizen, whatever you're doing towards the change we want, it always counts. It might not even count immediately, it might take time, but it will count. Whether it's through the voting process, whether it's through demanding for accountability, whether it's through going through the bills that are being proposed, you know, those small things, they'll amount to something that we would one day sit down and say, we tried, you know. Yeah. So let's not give up. Let's just continue with the process. Yeah. Even these spaces are adding up to something, you know, each and every day we learn. So I believe they have an impact. Yeah.
Let's keep talking then. I believe we should keep these conversations going. Japonji, final words zako, as we call it a night, Hugo.
Pipi, you see, we've been ranting a lot online and talking about the same things every time. And tomorrow there'll be another scandal. And even as we speak now, Raila has been joined by his brother, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. They are in Mombasa, trying to finalize the 50-50 deal for government. And this week we expect a lot of ranting. After this formation will be publicized. Most people already know what's cooking. So what I should ask myself, like any other Kenyan, is, will you be supporting that? Will you be supporting that that type of arrangement? Are you going to vote against Ruto because you don't like Ruto, or are you going to vote against bad governance? You know, because if we keep voting for personalities, I think we still get it wrong. 5 years down the line, after 2027, or even next year, we'll still be here. 2028 will be here, and we'll always be here talking about the same things. So, again, I've seen a lot of tribal alliances and a lot of people cooking each other on X based on affiliations. And what I can say is that's exactly what our politicians want to see. And me, I've reached a point whereby I don't care who becomes the president. I don't want to vote for individual. I want to vote for what the person brings, what the person represents, Because at the end of the day, if you vote wrongly and then you come back here with the guilt that is going on and you try to justify what you voted for, then I think we'll be in a very sorry state. Because even if you go to the grassroots now, the people campaign mood is on. There very few developments are happening. And as I told you, Pipi, Ruto is not smart, but he's strategic. He plans to start his on his development projects. I think after the budget reading for this year, he has borrowed enough. He wants to. I think Kindiki is the man who will be pushed to do all his constructions and developments in counties. And the sad thing is, again, Kenyans, we are so gullible. We keep forgetting about what happened before. We forget history so fast. And if you saw what happened in the church, that's just like a barometer that Ruto uses. And he knows that Kenyans can still vote for him if he gives them a few coins here and there. He has stolen enough. Now he wants to spend 2 years trying to demystify all those projects that were aired by people like Morara, so that by 2027, May, June, April, the guy will be like, I think at some point he'll be seated down with Morara. That guy is very strategic, and we'll ask Morara, show me one project that I've not completed and why Kenyans should not vote for me. And actually we'll be right, because if we focus only on things like, we are not focusing on bigger picture, the people that have suffered during his reign, his plan that never worked. A lot of people have suffered, people have died under SHA, and we have to talk about it. We cannot just talk about what will be happening at that time, because Ruto is banking on us Kenyans to forget all the atrocities and things that have happened. He is very much banking on us. So we can never forget what has happened. We have to keep reminding him about the Gen Z people that were killed and all that. However, whoever joins the government with Ruto, I can say here that I cannot vote for them. I cannot vote for any Ruto government. We have suffered. I personally paid for SHA for my family for 1 year, and it has never worked. I have tried, it has never worked. I'm always forced to go to private healthcare, and it's expensive, but we have to do it. But you ask yourself, where is all that money, the NHF that was left that we had paid in advance? Where is the 4 months now? I think I paid in December. It's almost 4 months, and I've not gotten any value for money. You go there, the records, nothing is working. So all this money, where is it going? These are very basic questions. And I don't want to be told in 2027 that now it's working, and it had to take time. No. The suffering that it has cost me now, it's enough not to vote for this guy. And that's what I can say. And I can also tell Kenyans, please stop being divided along tribal lines. Let's all advocate for voting against this system, the Ruto system. Whoever comes in, it doesn't matter. You cannot cure like diarrhea by stitching the anus. No, we cannot do that. That is what ODM is going to do there. So guys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And PP, have a good night.
All right, thank you Japonji, have a great night as well. Thank you for that submission. Word dhako naona unakuja wakati tunafunga mchezo. Talk to us.
Pole sana Pipi, mambo.
Poa sana.
Naona uko na mchango hapa ya 25k na nikipiga hesabu ya haraka haraka hapa 3250 uko na around 21,750 negative baba. Utafika hapo 25.
Unakwanga mjinga sana by the way. Unakujanga tu hapa tu kuniletea chaos. Ulaaniwe. What happened to being supportive, bwana? I thought friends were supposed to be supportive.
Yeah. I will. After this, I'll try and do something. Lakini jana ni mbali. Mazee, simuchangie Pipi mazee sifungiwe studio. Japonji mambo.
Word dhako wetu Liza, unajua wewe tuko na wewe hapa kwa Gulf. Wewe unaelewa Si hata wewe ulilipa SHA, si hata wewe ulilipa SHA for 1 year. Umepata service.
In fact mimi nimegongwa mara mbili. NHIF kabla wa transfer kwa SHA nilikuwa nimeshalipa 1 year prior. Yeye ikaenda na maji. Sasa this time round tena nimelipa juzi na tumiwa SMS fulani naambiwa nini yangu subscription yangu sijui ya premium sijui imefanya nini. Like hii nchi yetu ya Kenya wacheni tu. Pipi, maybe next time wazee tukiwa na discussion tukuwe na maybe kituka churches in politics or politics in churches, because politics in church kituka hiyo ama church in politics, kwa sababu ukiangalia Ruto ashajua ana wase, yani ana wafuate, yani inchi imeenda like ana watu, unaona. So ameanza ku go back to church. Nakumbuka akiingia kwa power aliingia na through churches. Sana alitumia churches sana. Sijui kama unaweza kumbuka campaign alitumia church sana. Mpaka kuna time alikuwa analia kwa church, anapiga magoti, anafanya nini, kaongo. Huyu jamaa church tena tu nitarudi tena nayo. Nakumbuka church ni mapadri zetu wanaenda. Mimi niliacha kwenda church kitambo sana. The last time nilienda church ilikuwa ni 2021 huko. Na ni church ingine nilipatanaga nao Dubai tu by mistake tu, nikaingia, ilikuwa ka SDA fulani, nikaingia nikaomba nikane hivyo. Siku hizi siendi church juu ukiangalia church vitu zinafanya tu ni pesa tu, business and everything. Hakuna kitu ya maana inafanyika church. Place tunafaa kuenda tu msee na nini yake, shida zake na Mungu wake amempeleka. Siku hizi church imekuwa tu ni business. Haya, sasa hiyo pipi siku moja mzee tukuje tu discuss vile hizi church either watu wa boycott kwenda church ama ikuwe tu maparents wetu watakuwa wadanganywa through church. Juu church ndio watatumia sana. Na pale wake kuambia akakusit down na kuambia unajua ni aje, tulikuwa na pastor fulani akatuambia this direction we are going. Trust me parents wetu kuna some influence over somehow. Hata kama mi saa zingine na kuanga msemo mwingine like spendi kufuata kitu like naambiwa sana. Not in a bad way, but I don't like following napenda kufuata kitu mimi najua it's right for me, for my side. But somehow our parents wanakuwa na some influence over us. Akikuconvince otherwise, hiyo 2027 hiyo itafika na tena itarudi tu ni kasongo, ama kila mtu atavote in tribal lines. So sisi wajaka tunaenda kwa Raila, wakale kwa Ruto, kila mtu hivyo. Yeah, itakuwa tu ni hivyo tena. Na itakuwa ni big problem. Sasa mtu kama mimi, let's say hiyo wakati wa last election I was so pro Raila. I was so pro Raila. But right now the SHA is not working. And said he is not working at saizi si Raila akutuseme ako kwa gava. Now that I supported Raila na ako kwa gava na SHA is not working for me. Nana naumia, si ni mimi. Haya, wenye support Ruto mwenyewe, wenye alimvotia akaingia pale. Si dawa, si maombi, ni Mungu, sijui nini. Haya ndio hiyo. Watu wale celebrate and everything. Ndio hiyo sasa. SHA is not working. Umepata accident, ama you have a patient, cancer patient, unapeleka OC for dialysis ama kitu kama hiyo, unaambiwa this one has to be cash. SHA is not working. Utafanya aje as a country? Hakuna. Yeah. And mind you, this is a person muliamka asubuhi na mapema kwenda kumvotia. Neno navotia mse. Haya. Nothing is working. Taxes ziko huko juu maze. Hakuna bila zaifikia. Sisi tumetoroka hiyo inchi kidogo, saa zingine tunakujanga huko hivyo, tunatoroka tena kiasi tunakuja. But sasa inatu affect directly juu sasa we have our loved one back at home. Hakuna vile kila time tu ukiona tu simu inapigwa kutoka mtaani unasikia tu kingia chini ya kitanda. Juu unajua hiyo ni do. Either sijui nini imefanyika, either sijui yani msana tafuta tu njia yote kutoanisha. Any means tu, una get. So it's very very difficult. So next general election, haki ya Mungu watu wangu. Kama ni kura mtapiga, sijui kama nitakuwa huko ama itakuwa aje, lakini next time haki, hata kama ni panya imekuja na hii panya iko na merits na everything yenye ni deserve kukua kulead nchi yetu ya Kenya, tafadhalini mpigie panya kura, ikae kwa hiyo kiti ya president, ifanye vitu zinafaa. Juu hakuna kitu inafanyika kwa hiyo nchi. Ni kama hakuna president. Unachekile Banana Republic. Ni kama hakuna viongozi huko. Like there's nothing happening. It's just politics ishie. Na Japonji can tell you huku pale tuko hakunaga politics, hata hakunaga news, hata ujuangi. So many Kenyans zingine unasikia wamededi. Ni sisi tu kwa hizi group zetu tunajuaga tu kuna msea alijitoa and everything, kulikuwa na accident place nini na nini. Hizi news huwezi jua nini inafanyika. Jua hawana politics. Wewe ukiangalia news zao utapata Sheka atembea pale na farasi. Hiyo ndio news. Sheka atembea farasi pale, anapiga golf, ameenda amekunywa kahawa, that's it. Hakunaga sijui perepere, sijui nini, kanisa 10 million, hakuna kitu ka hizo. Kitu ka hizo hakuna. So we waste a lot of times politics instead of kuweka system yenye inafanyia kwa watu wote. System yenye inafanya kazi yenye wananchi wenyewe wana feel appreciated. Imagine hiyo nchi ya Kenya, wananchi wana feel like we citizens of Kenya, we feel like we don't really get appreciated at all. Sasa wajali wase, like wajali. Mtu aingie pale aibe yenye anaweza iba ajitoe. Hiyo SHA tu ni nini? Hiyo ni scheme fulani tu ya mse wali come up nayo. And the reason ukitaka kujua ni scheme, why the rush? Mbona watu wakufanya pilot ya hiyo kitu ama waitest wajue kama system ina work? Wali rush everything, unasikia tu uko SHA nini na nini, uende register nini na nini, imesonga hivyo. So pipi hiyo inchi by 2027 inafaa tu ifungwe kwanza. Watu wananchi wapumzike. Wananchi wamechoka. Punda imechoka. Asante sana pipi and have a good night.
Asante sana Bwana Wodako for that and also sharing with us your story. Ladies and gentlemen, of course nimewaambia nani Wodako is laughing at me that I'm trying to raise 25,000 na niko na 3,000. Sasa sijui tutafanya aje. Ingieni pale kwa tip ja line munifikisha hata 5,000 nipate kitu. The studio itafungwa. Nimepewa 2 days. By 5th mambo itakuwa imechemuka. So ingieni pale hivi kwenye tip ja line munidropie support yenu. Mwache kukua kama Wodako. Anakuchekelea tu. Yaani watu siku hizi hata hawananga hata huruma bwana. Anakuchekelea tu live. Anyway, Malia.
Yes, PPA. I was saying that ninaona ni kama kuna emergency meeting yenye inaendelea. Nimeona Uhuru na Baba na Murathe. So I don't know what's cooking. Hata amesema atapeana speech kesho ama? Do inakaa there's some hot stuff which is cooking.
This week.
Lakini ukiona this week, eh? So ukiona wameungana hivyo, kuna danger wamesense wanaweza tupo nje wakiwa wote. So wamedecide let's join forces before we lose relevance. So ukiona hiyo muungano hiyo sio ya kawaida, kuna shida. Wameanza kuona there is a danger they can be thrown out and become irrelevant very soon in this country, hata kama wao ndio wako na do. So wacha tungoje tuone what they have for us. Mambo ya kanisa as usual. Mimi nimekwambia hata hiyo 100M probably it will not even be that 100M. Unajua kuna mambo mingi sana ina happening behind the scenes kwa hizi vitu. Mtu anaenda anasema hapo atatoa 100 na pengine hata nusu hatatoa. Unaona? And all what he's thinking about akienda kwa church. Hata wewe ukitaka ukiwa politician sahi, focus on churches. Ukishaingiza church box, unajua church moja, ukiingiza church moja like that one of his, nimekwambia iko na church every constituency which is in Mount Kenya, iko na kanisa which may not lack at least quite a few people, unaona. So hizo ni votes he's assured of 100%. He's assured of those votes. Sio kama hii ya kiwanja whereby watu unawalipa tu alafu anakuja. Ya kanisa ni ile pastor akisema tunavotia huyu, tunavotia kila mtu, mpaka watoto tu ndio wa vote. So that's the situation. Ananunua tu votes, anatafuta venye anaweza nunua votes. Amepeana ma ID huko kwa IDP camp, kwa hizi refugee camp Kakuma and the rest to foreigners. You know, he's even compromising our security with all these IDs is issuing so that asikose kura, because amefanya hesabu yake na anajua he's extremely unpopular. Na unajua hata kama unaiba, unajua you can only steal up to a certain extent. Kama hujafikisha a certain threshold, hata kuiba ni nightmare. Unaona? So he has to meet a certain quota. So he has to come up with all that, and you see, because he's desperate, anapeana IDs mpaka kwa watu wengine who are questionable, without even vetting. So he's even putting our security. But anyway, that's what we get for taking our country lately. Because by the way, not even basically Kenyans, we take things so lightly. I don't know whether ni kuchoka. Pia when things are not working, sometimes you become reckless because you feel hopeless. I don't know, or what is it? I cannot understand Kenyans, but ukiona our choices in voting, it can just show you that we don't take ourselves seriously. We don't take our country seriously. Now, we usually, if there's something which we throw caution to the wind, it's the way we choose our leaders. Unakuta some very questionable, and that's when nilikuwa naeka Matiang'i hapo hiyo nini yake alikuwa naongea kwa clergy na kwa judiciary, telling them that if you people joke, wash, and criminals are the people who are going to form the next government. Na si ni kweli, wanaingia tu one after the other one, and as the cycles are coming and evolving, it will become more and more of a gangster paradise kwa hizo Senate and whatnot. If you are a thug, unaingia kwa politics. If you are a thug, if you have a case, unaona hata Keroche, you are not paying taxes to KRA. Sasa the next thing is unaingia kwa senator so that you can be protected. The government has become a criminal protection agency. Ukikuwa criminal, akina Obado, akina huyu mwenye alishoot mtu kwa police station, you enter in the government so that akina Waluke, even Waititu alifungwa because he was on the opposite side. So that's a way of trying to make an example that if you have criminal cases or criminal activities and you are not joining the government, which is the criminal protection agency, then you're in trouble. Either you join the government ama you be quiet, but don't be in the opposition unajua umefanya makosa. So it's very unfortunate. That's how things are. But wacha tungoje tusikie ni nini hii yenye imeleta all these people together, because I'm seeing we are about to be taken for another ride. Kiona mambo imekuwa hivi, there's something very big coming up. But let's wait and see. Yeah, and but Kenyans, please, let's be more strategic. I think even us, we need to jipanga. The way them, unaona venye hao wanajipanga na wameanza kujipanga mwaka gani? Say kwa 2025. Sisi pia tuanze kujipanga vizuri. The same way them they are being strategic so that they take care of their interests, and their interests are not hampered by any decisions that may come. Even us, we need to take care of our interests because our interests are in this country. So pia sisi we come together. The way them you are seeing wameenda watamu huko kuenda kumit kustrategize hao watu venye tutawapanga. Na sisi pia tufanye hivyo, and we start early, not waiting until when it's 2027. Sasa ndio sasa tunaanza kurun helter skelter. Yeah, otherwise, thank you, Pipita. Maybe kesho I'll put for you something. Thank you.
Asante Malia for that as well. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here with us since we started at 5 Adisaizi. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, we keep on talking. We keep on the message going. Nasikia Japunja anasema kesho religion and politics. I mean, I'm sold. I'm really sold. But we still wait to see how it goes. Hapa hivi kwenye home running people, we are always trying to keep abreast with such conversations. And of course, our country has become a crime scene. You get. We are living in an active crime scene, so we need to keep on the conversation going. Thank you so much, everybody who speaks. Of course, Home Run PP is supported by you, the listener. If you like what I'm doing, kuna tip ja line yangu pale viju 0721948229. Drop your support for me. I will really appreciate that. Sawa. I think I'm gonna call it a night now. Have a great one, and see you tomorrow, guys. Bye.